Welcome to the MyClayCo studio. Tegan here, and today I am going to be sharing some of our favorite festive makes we've made over the last few years. We hope you enjoy watching them and it gives you some inspiration for the festive season ahead. So we are kicking off our polymer clay Christmas makes today with these cute Christmas tree jam fancy cookies. Now here we have attached this to a tea infuser, which makes a great gift idea, but you can also use them for things like earrings, or you can use the mini version to make little charms. If you were wondering how we got the cute little toasty edges on there, that is actually just done with chalk pastels that you brush on before baking, and you can also use pigment powder for that. Cutters like our folk gingerbread house here really lend themselves to actually infilling the imprint. So as you can see here, we are doing that with paint. This is done with acrylic paint and what we normally use for painting on polymer clay. Here we have used a needle tool just for tidying up those little details. Again, we have another one of our imprint cutters. This is our folk Christmas tree cutter. And what we are doing here is actually brushing on some gold pigment powder. And when we then go to stamp that onto the clay, it'll actually mean that that gold pigment powder then infills that imprint that we put in there. It's just a really simple and easy way that you can add colored infill to the imprint. So the clay here is just rolled to a couple of millimeters thick. We simply just stamp down. That beautiful gold pigment powder will then just transfer onto your clay. Once it is done, you will just want to pop a sealer on it to make sure it stays put. So if you have a really simple cutter and you want to spruce it up a little bit for the festive season, you can actually get a, say, metallic or a mica or glitter enriched clay. And it just means that those simple shapes really turn into something special and give it a little bit of sparkle. Christmas is always a good excuse to add a little bit of sparkle to everything. And here we have then just teamed them with some silver plated ball posts. Our next make here actually went viral on our social media, and it is such a simple thing to do. And I always love it when you can incorporate things from your garden or nature. So what we have done here is actually gilded that leaf imprint onto our polymer clay using metallic leaf sheets. It really has a beautiful effect. So we did it as a bookmark, and then we took that same idea and we just turned it into a pair of earrings. These would make a beautiful festive pair of earrings and really something different to what you would normally see. Adding in that stencil imprint as well just makes it that little bit more interesting. So I love poinsettias, so of course I love this trinket dish. It was actually one that we painted the edges with a gold paint pen. And then decided afterwards that it might look good if we actually did a gold infill as well around those petals. So we just have some gold acrylic paint here. We just paint it into those little nooks and then wipe it off with a baby wipe. Now we do actually have a full tutorial on infilling like this. So if you did want to have a look, I will pop it in the video description for you. This trinket dish was baked before we colored in those edges and did the infill. This is one of our recent makes done using our Slabscape cutters as well as our Shutterbox cutters. I love the way that they give that 3D look, almost like a diorama. So we do actually have a full tutorial on them. Again, I will drop that in the video description for you. Now this one here was actually a bit of an experiment, and on our social media, people were very divided on whether they liked it or not. We actually used clay that we'd mixed with Cernit Soft Mix to make it softer, and then filled in those stencil imprints using it. So it did give an interesting effect. If you are doing stencil art with pigment powder or acrylic paint, you won't get that raised infill that we got here. So it's probably not as clean as some of the results that you would get with acrylic paint or pigment powder, but creating with stencils always gives you that ability to create some beautiful patterns on your polymer clay. So this was us experimenting again. We had heard that you can mix liquid clay with bicarb and it will actually turn into kind of like this snow effect. So we thought we would give it a go. We created these cute little snowman snow globes and it kind of worked, but I would say it wasn't exactly the effect that we were after. One thing I will say though is that it gave the liquid clay a nice thick consistency. So a week later when we were actually assembling gingerbread houses, we found that it was a wicked hack to use. So I went through a little bit of a finger painting stage just because I just found it relaxing and I got some really good results creating slabs like this. And this was one of the festive ones that I created. So as you can see, I've just got some acrylic paint and I'm just dabbing it on there with my finger. When you do put the acrylic paint on there, try and do a thin layer, and then you just need to let it dry for a couple of minutes. It doesn't take long at all, and you can then just stamp out your pieces. I actually love how they turned out, and I decided to do a bit of a mix and match things with these Christmas tree trios, and I think that they ended up being something really cute. Oh yes, these are one of my favorite Christmas makes that we've made. So this is Carla here, and she's making some cute little Christmas puddings using our click and clay. It just shows a great way that you can use the tools that you have to create things that are really unique and different. We had never seen them done before, but we know that Christmas pudding earrings are often quite popular, so we thought that they would go well. So we've just added a little bit of sandpaper texture there, and then Carla is actually hand cutting the top of the puddings. So don't feel like you always need to use a cutter. You can certainly hand cut things, and sometimes that organic look that you get really adds to the feel of the piece. Look at those berries, aren't they adorable? These cute little holly berries just make the most perfect stud toppers on there. I love them. So we're now just assembling the little puddings using our Drill-A-Magic tool. It's just a really great way that you can drill consistently in your pieces, particularly if you are doing a large number on them. So if you are somebody that is a small business owner or you do markets, it's really good for drilling pieces in bulk. These are another one of our most recent makes. They're a little Yule kitty cutter. Now, the thing that I love about this is that you can dress up your little Yule kitty however you see fit. So if you want to give it a red sparkly jacket, or as we've done here, a little tartan jacket, you can use your creativity, go nuts, and create whatever festive kitties you want. Our next make here is something that's a little bit more decorative and floral. So we're actually using our little leaf garland cutter so that we can create a beautiful leaf garland edge on the gold bezels that you can see in the background here. So we just stamp out our little leaf garland, and then what we want to do is actually embed that bezel between those two clay pieces. Sandwiching the bezel between those two clay pieces means that it's going to stay put, and once it's baked, you don't need to use anything else like glue or anything for it to stay in place. I then just added some cute little red holly berries to this just to add a little bit more color and make them feel a little bit more festive. Now these were just some really simple flowers that I also put on there. And as you can see, I'm actually not using any kind of fancy floral cutters or anything. I'm just using literally these little micro circle cutter tools because I wanted to make some really tiny petals. So here I've just cut out those petals, and I've actually used one of the mini ball tools that I've got just to make them look a little bit more like petals. It is quite fiddly work, so I've then used a needle tool to help me assemble them. And then we just pop them on our little bezel design here. So I've then just added a caviar bead in as the flower stamen. So you will see that I add that white liquid there, that's clay adhesive, and that is there to keep the caviar bead in place. And didn't they turn out pretty? I'll admit, we didn't actually make this one for Christmas, but I have put it in here because gift tags are obviously a big thing at Christmas time because, you know, we're gift giving. So this cute little make gives you a reusable gift tag. And I know that we're all moving towards sustainability. And in our family, we actually reuse the same Christmas bags every single year. So it means that we can attach one of these polymer clay tags to the bags and we know whose is whose. I always love a metal charm and clay combo. I just think that they mix beautifully together. These are actually our ginkgo leaf charms. The green and gold combo just gives them such a beautiful festive look, but I'll be honest, I've probably made them in every color, and I also use them as a really nice kind of going out or occasion earring. So this is probably one of my favorite Christmas makes that I have ever made, and it is a cute little trinket dish. Now, as you watch this, if you think, wow, this looks time consuming, it was. I think it took me about 4 hours or something to put it together, just because I created all of the little elements. Here you can see I'm actually creating the red and white stripes for the little candy cane. We've also got the gingerbread man, we've got the little Christmas trees, and then I actually had to assemble them all on my little slab. So yes, it did take me a while, and I would say that it's something that if you are selling pieces, this one probably isn't commercially viable. But still, if you're looking for a really just fun, relaxing, creative make, I enjoyed making this so much. So you will notice here that I actually use that Trinket dish cutter at the start just to put a little imprint of how big the Trinket dish is going to be. And that is just so I know what area I'm working with. Then I had the fun process of laying out every single one of these little clay pieces. Now, again, because it is quite detailed work, you can see that I've got the needle tool there. It really does make it easier for when you're placing things and trying to get those small details in the right spot. Once I've placed all of the pieces, I can just cut it out with that circle decor cutter and I'm left with my bowl shape. I then just placed it into that bowl. This is just a cereal bowl that I got from like a $2 shop. Baking it in the bowl, of course, means that it's going to then have that rounded shape once it's finished baking. We do have a tutorial on Trinket dish making, so I'll also pop that in the video description. Now, this is one of the most popular makes that we have ever made. Really just makes me think about that beautiful Christmas night sky and Santa flying through. But I think the gold and blue combo is always a winner, and this glasses tray just turned out so beautifully. If you are a fan of metallic leaf like me, particularly at Christmas time, then these are a really good simple make that you can make, and it's just essentially using a ball tool to give your clay that kind of hammered metal look. And the green and the gold here just make for a beautiful combination. So Carla actually did a full tutorial on these cute little gingerbread houses last year. She textured them with just regular sandpaper and our mermaid scales texture mat. From there, she stamped out the pieces and then got to work assembling them. This is the liquid clay and bicarb soda that I mentioned earlier that actually makes the perfect glue for when you are assembling these little gingerbread houses. I will pop the full tutorial in the video description. They are definitely fun to assemble, but I think the highlight is popping on the cute little decorations. Our last make that we have for you isn't quite Christmas themed, but it is New Year's themed. So we thought that we would throw it in. And again, we're using metallic leaf and that gilding technique, this time using sticky tape to actually remove the bits of the gold leaf that we don't want. And we end up with this beautiful gold gilded champagne bottle. We hope you enjoyed seeing all of our festive makes that we shared with you today. We would love you to comment below with which one was your favorite. As always, if you do have any questions or comments, feel free to pop them in the comments below. And if you did enjoy the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.